Now, new developments about a mother accused of beating her young daughter to death.
Last night, Cato was walked out of the 77th precinct. Within the hour, prosecutors revealed she had an argument with her two daughters, 9-year-old Shalom and 13-year-old Wisdom, over a missing computer tablet and allegedly beat them with a broomstick and an electrical cord for 2 hours. The 9-year-old crawled under the bed to hide, and when her mother lifted the bed up, it dropped on her head. Her 13-year-old sibling called 911. When police arrived, Shalom was unconscious with bite marks and bruising all over her body and was pronounced dead. Neighbors say they had seen Cato yelling at her kids, but never saw her beat them.
Never made any sense to us because these girls were really small and well-dressed, well-mannered.
Sources say the mother is a city employee in the Human Resources Administration who has no prior arrests, but there were at least 10 prior domestic calls to the apartment involving the mother's ex-boyfriend. None of the calls allegedly involved the children. We spoke to an expert on cruelty to children.
It is very common where there is domestic violence for there to be child abuse.
Neighbors tell us there's a social worker who lives in the building who they believe was aware of the mother's yelling. They weren't sure whether they should report it. If found guilty, she could face up to life in prison. Her 13-year-old daughter is now in the hands of Children's Services.
What up, everybody? I am the Mademoiselle, and this is my channel. And as you guys can see from the clip that you guys just viewed, we are going to be talking about a Brooklyn mother who was just recently arrested for killing her daughter over a lost tablet. Now, this is actually a very hard topic to discuss, mainly because obviously the issue at hand. And I will tell you right now, if you already watched that clip, I'm very sorry. There is a trigger warning. If you made it this far, more trigger warnings. There are so many other videos that you can watch on my channel that are not as dark. You know, there's 600 other videos to choose from. I also have 2 other channels that you guys can check out. Keep the description box for all the questions that you guys always ask me about down in the comment section below. But this is something I've always really wanted to have a dedicated video about because it needs to be addressed. There's a lot of parents out there, a lot of people in general that believe this whole concept of spare the rod, spare the child, or spare the whatever. You know, you should be able to beat your children and be able to handle your children as you please because you brought them in this world and you should be able to take them out. And I guarantee you there's some people who probably agree with what this mother did, either fully or to an extent. And I'm here to tell you that you're a piece of shit if you agree with this at all. The reason I do not believe in people beating kids whatsoever is because I've never been beat ever. And I feel like I turned out pretty well. Yeah, I'm a little vulgar, I'm a little fickle, but I feel like I turned out just fine. Also, a lot of my friends have been beat like hell growing up for the most simple, most mundane shit. And it never helped them whatsoever. And I know there's gonna be people, because I've seen it on a couple of other videos, oh, I got beaten, I was just fine. I don't feel like I was ever, you know, really affected by my parents ever handling me with corporal punishment or anything like that. And you may think so, but have you actually tried to delve deep into the issues that genuinely plague you? Have you ever went to therapy? Do you in turn put hands on your children and ask them how they feel about being beat for any little issue? And also, of course, it leads to very tragic issues such as the ones you saw in this intro, where you let the anger get the better of you for shit that just doesn't really make any sense. Okay, so honestly, we're just going to have to talk about a lot of different issues in this video. So first things first, my condolences goes out to the family of these children and honestly everyone involved, because this is so sad. Now we have a kid in the system, a kid that's deceased, a mother that's in jail, and a family that is most likely not only really hurting because of all these situations, because now there's going to be court dates, funerals, and then they're going to have to probably try to get this kid out of the system because you do not want your child to grow up in the system or any other family member growing up in the system. So I'm sure there's going to be someone that tries to get custody of her, but this is just genuinely embarrassing and just a very sad situation overall. But it's just also really sad to see adults let anger get the better of them in these types of scenarios. Always understand that you are an adult and that is a child. Children can be horrible. Children have horrible attitudes sometimes. Children do not respect authority. Children, I'm gonna lie, some kids can really ruin your entire day. But also understand you are an adult who has way more force than a child. You can literally fling a child across a room in a lot of cases. And you cannot exert that much force and energy onto a child. Even if you do choose to put hands on your child as a form of punishment, you cannot exert so much force onto that child to the point where they are legitimately maimed or killed. That just doesn't even make any logical sense. It's just bullying at that point. I feel like anyone that puts hands on their kids, they really do have a psychological problem. I don't care. I feel like for the most part, it is a slave mentality. It is a legitimate psychological issue. I feel like it's literally a power dynamic that is being abused. I do not believe in it whatsoever, and I don't think anyone can ever change my mind on that. I just think it's blatantly wrong, because at the end of the day, the power dynamic is there. You are 10 times bigger than this child that you are sitting here putting hands on and hurting just to make respect you. In this case, I just need to understand why a tablet was the reason this child lost her life. A tablet. First of all, let me just say this right now. Stop buying expensive gifts for your fucking kids in the first place. Kids are gonna lose it. They're gonna break it. All types of crazy things are gonna happen to it. So I need to understand why y'all keep doing this and thinking that any good is gonna come from it, okay? Shockingly, I actually bought my best friend's kid a tablet when he was like 3, and he's about to be like 6 or 7 now, and he still has that tablet. It's still working mighty dandy. Meanwhile, someone else bought my godson a tablet, and that shit broke within 6 months. You should know your kids. You should know what type of kids you have and what type of kids you're buying gifts for. Stop buying expensive things for kids, especially if you know certain kids are not going to be able to handle it. If you know your kid can handle it, fine. If you know your kid is responsible, fine. But some kids, and a lot of kids, especially if you don't know the mannerisms of the kids, should not have expensive things. And even if they do end up breaking it, it's just an object. If you are going to do something dumb like that, get warranty so you can get it replaced, okay? Actually use your common sense. There's absolutely no reason something like this should happen. Even if you are going to be that type of parent that uses physical punishments as a way to make your children respect you, why do you have to beat your child for 2 hours? And we all know that this was not a first-time offense, because as you guys can tell from the news clip, there was witnesses, which honestly, I don't understand these people. I never understand cases like this. I've come across so many cases, both online and documentaries and even in real life, where people like I thought were fine, or they look fine, or you know, people will be like, oh, they wore nice clothes, they look like they were great kids, and then all of a sudden something happens to them and people are like, well, you know, the mom was always yelling, oh, the dad was abusive. And it's like, okay, but where were you at hearing all of this crazy shit going on and you didn't say anything? As an adult, if I was living in a building, if I was around a neighborhood and I literally saw children being abused by their guardians, their parents, whatever the case may be, I'm calling a po-po real quick, because it just doesn't make any logical sense to me. Especially in this case, because apparently there was numerous domestic violence calls made to the house, and then there's a whole social worker that lives there that didn't know what to do. Listen, that child was failed. These children were failed. Now the older sister is going to be scarred for life. This is something that you guys need to understand. Children never get over, okay? Adults never get over. Being beat, being abused is something people do not get over. Whether it's emotional abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, financial abuse, sexual abuse, whatever it is, people don't get over things like that. It's usually a lifelong battle to try to get over things like that, with or without therapy. Now this girl's in the system going through God knows what, and she had to witness her kid get killed over a tablet. I'm very sure their mother terrorized the hell out of them before that. So it's just very unfortunate that no one was there to rally, to speak up, to stand up for these kids, and no one ever really does. And I believe that this is because a lot of people tend to think that kids are lying, kids are bad, kids deserve to be punished when they're not listening, when they do things like lose tablets or whatever the case may be. And I really beg you guys, to anyone who has this mindset, just think about what it was like to be a kid, because I feel like a lot of adults, I think a lot of us forget what it was like to be a kid. We forgot what it's like to have that pure innocence and that essence of freedom. Okay, a lot of us are not thinking about responsibilities. A lot of us are not thinking about, you know, all this extra shit that adults think about. So it's like when we see a kid, a lot of us just get mad when they do little shit that really is not even that deep. This situation is just really unfortunate and just should have never ever happened. Those kids should have had an advocate. Someone should have took them out of the home, especially since there was a boyfriend that was always being called for domestic violence issues. I wish they would have elaborated on that. Maybe the man was hitting her, but just like the expert said in that video, I'm going to link it down below if you guys want to watch the whole thing. Most of the time, if there's a domestic violence issue, there is a child abuse issue as well. It doesn't make any sense to me, and those girls are very young. I could just imagine what they went through in their short amount of lives in the general sense, and now the younger one lost their lives. And it's crazy because there's actually a video that I was going to react to where there was a girl that was being recorded by her mom because she did some shit, and she was literally under the bed, like she was getting beat, and she was running under the bed to run from getting beat, and like the mom was literally pulling her from under the bed. And this situation, and something similar happened in this situation where she was beating them for 2 hours, which I don't understand. How much energy do you have to beat someone for 2 hours? But yet, how much energy do you have and the audacity do you have to beat 2 kids for 2 hours in an apartment building where people are gonna hear you? That's how you know that we're lost as a people, because people literally will hear something like this happen. I know people heard those girls crying for fucking 2 hours and not say anything, not knock on the door, not call the police, not do anything. That shit really makes me fucking upset. Like, I just don't understand this shit. And literally when she lifted the bed, I guess to get the girl to, I guess, continue beating her, it fell on her head and she passed away. Someone needs to explain to me how that's even fucking possible. That is horrible. And she had bite marks on her, all types of bruises. That is absolutely disgusting. That's not even punishment anymore. That's legitimate child abuse. That's murder. There's one thing to punish your child with a little tap, a little pull of the ear. I don't even think that's that deep. But when you're literally sitting here beating your kid with a belt, beating your kid with a wire, beating your kid with a shoe, beating your kid, dragging them out from under the bed, throwing beds on their head, and all of this, like, that's too much. It really is. And anyone that agrees with that shit is problematic, and you need to go get help. You need a psych eval. There's nothing okay with this at all, especially over a tablet. It's really crazy because, like, growing up, a lot of my friends got beat, okay? Literally for getting bad grades. And now that I look at it, I'm literally for getting bad grades, for talking back, for getting, you know, detention or getting suspended, or just wearing certain things they weren't supposed to wear, not eating all their food on their plate. Just really stupid, mundane things. And the crazy thing about it is now we all make jokes about it, especially Haitian people. We tend to make jokes and skits and, you know, talk about these things like they're funny. And I really hope that while we're laughing at all these things and while we think they're so funny, we're not repeating the same cycle with our own kids and beating the shit out of them for mundane things. If you think your kid is dumb, or if you're gonna literally scream at your kid for getting an F, get them a tutor too. Get them a tutor. Don't beat the shit out of them. If you really think that your kid has to eat all the food on their plate, actually make food that they want to fucking eat. Don't sit there and shove it all in their mouth. Talk about some, well, all the kids in Haiti really want to eat this food, so you gotta eat yours too. No, that's problematic and it's toxic. If the kid doesn't eat the goddamn food, they don't eat the goddamn food. Like, I remember I had a family member that literally was trying to like beat the shit out of me because I didn't want to eat a specific type of food, and literally made me sit there for like 6 hours until I ate it. And you know what happened? I didn't eat it. And they called my parents all about, oh, she's so disrespectful, she doesn't want to eat the food. And my parents was like, well, she doesn't eat that food, and I told you she doesn't eat that food, and she told you she doesn't eat that food, so what do you want her to do? She's not about to choke and die for y'all. Like, literally, that's exactly what my parents said. They was like, I don't understand what you're calling this for. She don't eat that. It is what it is. You know, so like, a lot of you guys need to understand that you can't force kids to do what they don't want to do. Kids are human too. A lot of you guys have a complex where you think that just because you're bigger and you're older, people have to respect you. No, the fuck they don't. You have to respect them too. They're children, not robots, not slaves, not pets. They're children. That's it. They're just smaller human beings. Like, it don't make sense. A lot of y'all just want to be able to control something, and that's really scary. And if you really want to be able to exert power and control people, you shouldn't fucking have kids. Like, this shit really makes me upset because I see this type of shit all the time, from small scale to big scale. People that think that just because they're bigger and older, they can just do and say whatever they want to people. And since I was a kid, that's something I've always been able to recognize in people, and I've always been able to curse niggas the fuck out. And yeah, I may be flick on maledve and sissy blah blah, but I really don't care. You could call me rude, you could say I'm this, that, and the third, but at the end of the day, you're not gonna boss me around, you're not gonna put hands on me, and you're not about to say shit. I'm gonna call you for what you are, and you're not about to treat me like a dog just because I'm younger than you. That's just not what it's about to be. So make sure all of you guys call things out for what it is. If you see something, say something. If you see a kid's in danger, if you see an animal's in danger, make sure you say something. You could be saving a life. You can be saving someone from going through something ridiculously traumatic, or more traumatic than they're already going through. The situation should have never never happen. A 9-year-old lost their life over a tablet. I saw the story, I had to watch it like 3 or 4 times, and it brought tears to my eyes every single time. I just can't believe it. I really can't, because some people are like legitimately trash. With that being said, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, comment down below. What are some stories that you have about the way your parents punished you? Make sure you guys peep the description box for more information per usual. With that being said, I'ma see y'all next time. Bye.